Okay, Chief, just want to say appreciate all your leadership and your guidance around here. You will be missed. Remember to take very, very good care of that wonderful lamp that the executive committee gave you. We will miss having that lamp around as well. And as they say in the old business, thanks a lot for stopping by. Take care. Bye.
This is to say bye to Chief Gunning, who I knew as a staff sergeant. He worked for me at the emergency room at Laughlin. He was my shift supervisor at the daytime. We had some good times with he and Bob Cowan, who's a PA here. Bye, Howard.
Congratulations on your retirement, Howard, and good luck to both you and Pat. And if you're ever homeless again, Howard, you know where to give us a call. Have fun in Illinois. Bye.
Sergeant Stoker's here. Well, Chief, it's 20 after 6 here at your farewell dinner. You're not here yet, so we're going to go ahead and get started. But we're looking forward to this evening to say goodbye to you. I have the Mantle crew here with me and Mr. Baven. So we're going to enjoy the food and the environment tonight and look forward to
about the time
bidding you a fond farewell.
You have anything profound to say to Chief?
Not too profound. Chief, it's been fun working with you. I wish you good luck in your career after this and in your pursuit of further education, and I can't wait to see you.
Right, somebody's laughing over here like he thinks he's going to have something better to say. Okay.
All I got to say is, Chief, it's been fun working with you. Just don't take those Rams too seriously in St. Louis, and stay Cowboys forever.
Who? Howard who? Gunning. Oh, Gunning, I remember now. We'll come visit you at your house. We'll stay in your basement, and we'll eat your food. But we'll miss you. Bye.
We have another friend of, you have something to say to Chief here?
No, you catch me on the spot. Hi, Chief. Bye.
How you doing? We're at Chief Gunning's retirement party, and we're hungry. And we're sorry to see him go as a chief, but we're sorry to see him go as a man. Bye.
Deep and profound statement. Old man, come back healthy. We love you, we'll miss you. Take care.
Hail to the Chief. Can we talk now?
You want more? You want more? Are you going to do something with that video or something? That's all I got. Okay, Colonel Giovanetti, you got your dental coin? I can ask you.
Don't you dare ask for a dental coin. Don't you?
What do you have to say to Chief? Come
I have to tell Chief, don't spend all your time at the Cardinal ball games.
Hey there, you have something to say to Chief? Come on. Speak.
Hi, guys.
Okay, here we go. Okay, Mr. Corey, what do you have to say?
Howard and Pat, we're going to miss you guys a lot. You guys have been a tremendous asset to Janine and I, and we're going to miss you guys a bunch. So good luck in Illinois, and we'll try and get through there sometime.
Hey.
All right, I'm sitting here shoving food in my face, Chief, so that I can get up here and do this stuff later. But I want to thank you for everything you've done for us. Really appreciate it. We're here tonight to celebrate you.
What's your lovely wife have to say about all this?
She's got her some chicken fried steak in her mouth.
Yeah.
I was asked to do it, and I left at the chance. I talked to Chief Gunning, and I said, let me get some names of some people I can call around the Air Force and dig up your dirt. Well, I was calling. There's just no dirt. You dig. He says, talk to the people that knew me early in my career. And you dig, and you call them back a week later. Did you think of anything else yet? There's just no dirt. The closest to dirt we had was Bob Cowan. I knew there'd be someone if I just pressed on. I knew there'd be someone who'd come up with something. We found out that Chief Gunning back in his early days, when other people he was working with were getting out of various details because, well, they were smoking pot. And they were being rewarded by their commander for it. You know, they were getting off ambulance detail, getting clinic jobs, no shift work, stuff like that. He says, hey, maybe we should take that up. It was worth a thought. So I don't know, you know, now it's like, well, not too far from now, and you might see him out on the street selling bags. Support his habit. I think it's a deep-seated desire. I mean, you don't just come off of those comments in our circles. You know, there's different tales. Again, most of what I got from Bob Cowan. You know, he was able to hook me up. You know, I think a lot of us have heard, and for those of you that hadn't, about the one day he pulled up in his ambulance, you know, parking on the lawn, you know, at the headquarters building and all. And the commander came out and made him stand out there and shovel and fill in the ruts he'd made in a nice yard. You know, you remember that? Yeah. You know, but he's had his career. I mean, the best thing I got, like I said, no dirt. Everybody had positive comments. He's always been a great guy. He's always been there, you know, for them to share. Mary Hale, you know, she wanted me to pass that. You've always been there for her, you know, when she's called you. Chief Z, you know, he says, Howard didn't do anything. So it was the consensus, Air Force wide. Not that he won't be remembered, it's just he won't be remembered for dirt. Whereas, I mean, you know, some of us have so many skeletons we can't shut the door on the closet. No, but we got here, Chief Gunning and I got here about the same time. We both did our in-processing together. And, you know, it's just, I've thoroughly enjoyed working with him. You know, he's been there for me to talk to advise me, to guide me, and that I could hand that down to the people that work with me also. I think there's not anyone here tonight who he hasn't affected, either as a co-worker or as a supervisor, as a manager. I think if that was the case, y'all wouldn't be here now. He's been here for us. We've got some presentations to make. And on behalf of different individuals and organizations, Chief Meadows, if you give me the first one there, the Falcon. And we presented this already once, but we want to present it for y'all. This is
not in the same fashion, though, right?
No. No, we won't like make a Sunday out of you. You know, we did make a Sunday out of him at his last top 3 meeting. We had him in a barrel with whipped cream and nuts.
Oh, no.
You did bring some of that. For those of you that missed it, before we enact, they'll give us some cherries up there. Anyway, we want to present this Falcon again tonight since it's a special night for him. This is from our hospital top 3. We have on here Chief Howard Gunning, 26 July 95 to 1 November 97. Thanks for all the help, guidance, and inspiration from the hospital top 3. We have there's some people that couldn't be here tonight that wanted to send some gifts along. And this one was from, again, it was from Spivey, right? Okay. This one says it's from Spivey and Porter.
Oh, really?
Okay. It's coming in the window.
Rain coming in the window.
Rain at your parade.
Oh, entertainment.
You get that on.
Those of you may not have ever heard, Chris Spivey, Colonel Chris Spivey was the chief nurse at Scott that I worked for, and Colonel Sue Porter was her deputy, and they both retired in that area out there. Well, Sue Porter stayed in the Scott area. Chris Spivey moved out to Ohio, near Wright-Patterson. She's a wonderful person to work for. And she wrote the last EPR that got me promoted to chief. Just send me a watch.
Wow. Go. Wow.
If you write my APR too. You know how it is when you write, lots of times when you write your APRs, you write your own, you give it to your boss to sign. She's one of the rare ones that would not do that. She said, give me the information and I'll write it and trust me. I opened up quick there. Push the top. There you go.
Now, Chief Meadows and I deliberated on this one because it came with a card, right? And there's no from anybody on here. Now, in light of all the people that Gunning has sent along their way, I'd like everyone to leave the room. Okay? It feels like it could be plastique. I don't see a detonation device, but you know, I don't know. The card says.
You can just put it under the water here. And,
yeah. I don't know. He does have his reputation for sending people on their merry way.
Well, actually, this is for the whole family. For Pat, and there's a card for Pat and one for Howard. This is for the whole family. Sometimes we forget about how wonderful and beautiful Colorado really is. We've got a lot of wonderful wild animals that run around the academy. I just thought I'd get something that they could all share and take with them whenever they boys grow up and move on.
Wet rock.
Here, and one of his marching orders was to get rid of people that's been here since the 80s. And the Academy is a 4-year tour, so it doesn't take a whole lot of math to figure out there's been some people here for a long time. Luckily, he was really eyeing me because he knew I'd gotten here for the first time in '83, and he started adding up 83 and now 93. You've been here too long. But then I guess he realized that it was 2 tours. Howard Gunning has been a really tremendous asset to the medical group, and I would like to take a moment just to thank all of you folks from out of town that took time to come up here and help us celebrate Howard Gunning's retirement. It is definitely something that you only have one of, mainly, in the Air Force, and it's something that we try to make special. I'm going to share something that most of you didn't get to see, but last Thursday the hospital top 3 had a meeting, and at the end of it, we kind of said our farewell to Howard. And you need to know what the whipped cream was about. Howard was made into literally a Gunning banana split. This is just
I got
one.
the bucket outside.
Yeah, the bucket. You got the bucket? Let's see that show of hands again. How many?
I want to know who the guy was who was trying to spray it in my ears.
Ooh, not me, buddy. But seriously, Howard was a real champion in that farewell. We truly just
Closed him.
Yeah, made him a living Sunday. But again, he was a real warrior, and that's how he's been this whole trip. I've had a good opportunity to work with Howard and work very closely with him. And I'm here to tell you, and the other chiefs in the room know too, that this guy is definitely a true professional. He's one that puts the Air Force in front of himself. He puts the Air Force as far as the job part goes. I know his religious values are definitely number one, and those of you know Howard know that to be true. But when we're talking in terms of duty, he puts that priority number one, and he's been a great chief, one of the best that I've ever worked with and worked for. And we're going to hate to see you go. We got a good replacement, and I think that's going to be a good asset to the hospital. But Howard, I want to first present you a can of the whipped cream. As long as you don't give it back. It really was a neat thing. If you could, I can't even begin to articulate and describe it. Somebody was taking pictures. It was quite an ordeal. He was covered in whipped cream from literally head to toe, with a whole lot of, what do you call those little marshy, little red cherries, and walnuts. I mean, it was great.
And they hosed me off with fire extinguishers.
Yeah, fire extinguishers. But Howard, seriously, as me, I got something I'd like for you to have. I think, and I just hope you enjoy it. That's all I got to say. Farewell, and we appreciate all of your help, man. I'm afraid to lose again. Go ahead.
never be without a coin.
A coin because you'll always want one.
All right. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
And that was always my perfect time to catch him, because he would promise me the world at that point. Just to leave his conversation. Okay, yeah, you want orders, you got them. My only regret there is that he won't be here at my 3-year point, because that was a coin I learned how to play, and it's just. He'd come out there, his eyes would just be floating. That was my opportunity, and unfortunately, as he leaves, so that goes. I have to find out. Yeah, I have to find out the other weaknesses. But that's when they'll promise you the world. Anyway, at this time now, I'd like to turn it over to Chief Gunning.
Can I just say a couple things?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
We had, most of you probably don't know this, we had a get together, the executive staff did for Chief Gunning and Pat before his family left. And I wonder where that lamp is, that designer lamp.
It'll be there tomorrow.
Whoa!
It'll be there tomorrow on the table.
For sure?
Yes, sir.
Did you ship it, bring it back?
It's never left. It stayed in Rich Harold's closet. He told me it had to be out of his house though when I left.
That's pretty optional, bring the lamp. We gave Chief Gunning a very nice plaque. It was a waterproof crystal flag. And I think the inscription was very poignant and sentimental. It said, "Thanks for stopping by." Wow. Those of you that know Dr. Hammer, that's a very apropos, significant saying for him. From the executive staff, particularly from the hospital commander, Dr. Hammer, I want to thank you very much. I appreciate all your hard work. Chief Gunning has been an absolute phenomenal supporter of the executive staff and the hospital, 700 plus people. And for those of you that can make it, please come to the retirement ceremony. There'll be more words, and there'll be a letter from Dr. Hammer that I'll read.
Thank you very much.
How that happened, but it did. We've kind of traveled the same highway for a long, long time. A few little side trips here and there, different rest stops, a few different exits. And a lot of us kind of like to think, kind of have that idea in our head that this is a retirement, so this is the end, this is where it stopped. But it's kind of, this is our highway, this is his exit. I want to say not goodbye, but so long, and I'll see you at the next crossroads.
I'm not like Nick. But I have waited 21 years to do this. First of all, I want to really thank you all for coming in here. Some of the folks who got caught in the overflow area out there, thanks. First of all, I want to say thanks to a lot of friends that came along the way. One of the things that we learned in the Air Force that it's not really the base that you're at. It's not the location. All of that lends itself to certain advantages and certain disadvantages, but it's the friends you make, and what you do with those friends is what you carry with you throughout the time. So you can make any base bearable by meeting some folks and doing some things with them. And I'd like to highlight for a moment just a few of the friends that are here. Some go back quite a ways. This young fellow over here, Wendell. Most of you know I was an Air Force brat. I went to 10 schools in 12 years. I went to, by the time we were 18, we'd moved 23 times. And my dad was in the Air Force, and one of the places that we stopped off at was Cliff, New Mexico. My dad worked at a radar site out there in the Mogollon Mountains. It was a 7-man radar site, Joint Air Force FAA radar site. And the Air Force owned the halfway house. Halfway because it was halfway between Silver City and the site. And that's a long ways. So Wendell and I were juniors in high school together in Cliff, New Mexico. How many kids were in our class, Wendell?
19 graduated.
19. But Wendell was good enough to, it was interesting because we'd moved to New Mexico from New York. And in New York, you had to be like 27 to get a driver's license or something like that. And in New Mexico, all you had to do was see over the dash of the So I was a junior in high school with no driver's license. And that house we lived at was kind of out in the country. And Wendell would come and fetch me and take me and do things. And most importantly, Wendell introduced me to a friend of his, a friend named Jesus. And I really owe Wendell a lot for that. And he's been a good friend for the last more than 20 years. Then I landed when I got in the Air Force, I landed at Reese Air Force Base in Lubbock, Texas. It was my first base. And that young fellow there with all the youngins, Ron Stevenson and I were airmen. at our first base. Ron worked in fuels, and we all hung out in dorms together and tried to keep our sanity together. And he drove all the way up here from Lubbock. He stayed. He decided to stay in Lubbock, so they came up from Lubbock, and I really appreciate that. And then from Lubbock, we went to Scott. That's where I picked up Pat. Wasn't that easy. She was a little hard to get. So I appreciate her friendship for the last 18 years. From Scott, we went back to Lubbock, and that's where we picked up David.
Found you under a rock, did they?
That's right. Then from Lubbock, we got sent. We were making the scenic tour of Texas, so we went to Del Rio from there.
Oh my gosh.
And that's where we met Bob and Michelle. Paula was my boss. She was Bob and I's boss, both of us. And you met poor Paula. She had to ride her to myself and Bob Cowan and a guy named Howard Daubert. We were her 3 shift leaders down there. She had her hands full. And we picked up Daniel down in Del Rio as well. Yeah, there wasn't much to do down in Del Rio.
Was it bright red yet?
And then from Del Rio, we got one of those, we got one of those assignment notices that it came in the mail, and it said, "Congratulations, you've been selected for reassignment to," and it had a code on there, like your personnel guy. It said something like JQ3962. I said, "What is that?" But on the very bottom, it said something I had to go to training at Shepherd Air Force Base, Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, and Fort Huachuca. And at the bottom line, it said, "Members selected to support high priority weapon system." And I thought, wait a minute, medic, high priority weapon system, these don't belong in the same sentence. So we got sent to Wuchheim to do a tour in independent duty with a ground launch cruise missile unit. That's where we met our friends the Pikes. John was a cop guarding those things. They drove down from F.E. Warren, and we spent 3.5 years doing Glickem and letting Colonel Hummel let me fill those wheelbarrows and stuff. He's a retired 07 here, one of our patients. So I was real interested the first time I ran to him in the hallway in the hospital one day. So those are guys. All these different friends. Pardon?
Is he still a patient?
Yeah, he's still a patient. Yeah. He has fonder memories of me than I have of him. From Germany, we got sent to Shepherd, and then did 3 years at the hospital there, and then from Shepherd to Scott, and then Scott to here. But all along the way, there's been friends. We've met folks, and we've got new friends, old friends here in the room, and for some folks, we may not run into each other again, but for most folks, we probably will. The Air Force is a small family. It's getting smaller, getting closer, more intimate. I even have some relatives that made it. Some of my cousins here in town came out, and some of our civilian friends came as well. They came out here to Colorado in the early 80s and were smitten and stayed. So most folks in Illinois are pretty amazed when we say, "You live in Colorado Springs and you're coming back here?" Anyway, I want to thank you all for coming and thank you all for your friendship and your support. And hope, for the most part, most of you can make it out tomorrow. And I don't know how I'll do tomorrow. I've been in the Air Force since the day I was conceived. This is going to be different. But again, thanks very much. I'll show you.
I was going to say, for the tomorrow is the actual retirement ceremony. Appreciate it if you all could be there. There will be some others there as well. People that couldn't make it out here this evening will be there tomorrow. And that's going to be the big day. It's an honor. I'd like to see you all there. Do you need anything?
1500 or 3 o'clock for civilian.
Good job.
And Chief
Take this opportunity to welcome Sergeant Gunning to the other side. Hope he has a wonderful life. I know he has because he's been a great man.
Okay, how are you feeling? Here we go. How are you feeling?
Fine, Hal, thanks.
Huh? Are you nervous?
No, I'm not nervous at all.
Are you excited about this is it? This is the last days?
Yes, I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to it. It's been fun, but
And what's after
time
this?
to move on. Huh?
What's after this?
We need to find my husband a job.
Find your husband a job?
Yes.
Do you have a job?
No, I don't, but I had a job offer already.
Oh, good.
And I wasn't even looking for a job.
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Thanks.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, it's funny, we're walking out of our office and I'm yelling at well, it's not very First time I caught it, second time I went.
How are you?
Hi, Chief. From the Honor Guard, we just want to say congratulations on your retirement. You had a great career, and we're going to miss you a lot. Take care.
Congratulations, Chief. Congratulations.
Hi, Chief Gunning. This is Terry. I want to say hello to you and Pat. Gonna miss you both. It was very glad to get to know you and to work for you and to accomplish a lot of things. And I really enjoyed working with you and Pat. I'm gonna miss you very, very much. See you all. Take care.
Feeling okay.
Hal.
So how you feeling right now?
I'm really excited. I'm ready to go. Hal, this is my sister, Kathy.
Hi.
My older sister, Kathy.
Uh-oh, older sister, huh?
Not by much. Those are her two kids. It's Kylie.
Hi.
Say hi to me.
So you're not a nervous wreck?
Not yet, but if you keep filming me, I probably will be.
Okay, listen, no crying.
I'll try
Keep your
not
emotions
to.
in check.
But Frances is sitting behind me, so she has not promised that she won't start me crying.
Okay, listen, I'll get
She's
you
already
after this
cried.
and see how you are before and after shot.
Thanks.
Okay, how you feeling, Chief?
I'm a little nervous, but I'm looking forward to this. I've been waiting a long time.
Your wife says she's not going to shed a tear. She will not get emotional. What do you think about that?
She might not. Those Iowa farm girls are pretty tough, but we'll have to wait and see what develops as time goes by.
Well, you're looking pretty cool, so we'll get the after shot in about 45 minutes and see how you're
Great.
doing.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for being here to tape this. So for all my family that couldn't make it, wished you were here. It's like...
Please take your seats. The ceremony is about to begin. On behalf of the Commander 10th Air Base Wing, 10th Medical Group, Colonel David L. Hammer, I'd like to welcome you to the retirement ceremony of Chief Master Sergeant William Howard Gunning, Jr. This afternoon, we give recognition to one of the Air Force's finest in the medical service group, Chief Master Sergeant Howard Gunning. Chief Gunning, your dedication to leadership and loyalty are a source of pride to us all. We're proud to have served with you. You may rest assured that the example of professionalism you have shown will be an inspiration to us all. We hope you will take with you the fond memories of the United States Air Force and the Air Force Academy, and we wish you, your wife Pat, and your sons good health and happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of Chief Master Sergeant Gunning, Major Gage Cleveland. Please remain standing for the posting of the colors. Color guard, post the colors.
Left turn. Park. Present. Pump.
shoulder, arms. Left, face. Forward, heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We'd like to once again welcome you to the retirement ceremony of Chief Gunning. There are some special people we'd like to introduce today. Chief Gunning's wife, Pat, oldest son, David, and their youngest son, Daniel. Also, we'd like to introduce Pat's sister, Kathy, and her husband, John. Didn't make it, I'm sorry. We're also happy to have with us today the commander of the 10th Air Base Wing, Colonel Richard Downing, and the deputy commander for the 10th Medical Group, Colonel David Gilbreth. I'd like to ask Captain Bob Cowan to please come forward and read the Chief's biography.
Chief Master Sergeant William Howard Gunning. Long, long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, a young man was born, sent to this planet with powers and abilities far beyond that of normal man. He was taken in by another Air Force family and raised as one of their own. With a premonition of greatness, the new parents named him William Howard Gunning, Jr. The title of Chief would come a little bit later, a lot later. In preparation for his years of sacrifice and toil for his country, the young chief attended schools in Illinois, New York, Germany, and New Mexico. Apparently, no school could handle this young man for more than 1 year at a time. Finally, centuries of toil culminated in a high school diploma from Carlinville Community High School in May of 1976. Soon after, this gangling young boy caved into his hankering to see the world. He enlisted in the United States Air Force in November of 1976, before a lot of people in this room were even born. He spent the next glorious 6 weeks at Lackland Air Force Base, Texas, enjoying the best training facilities his country had to offer. The Air Force was so impressed with his capabilities and performance that Airman Basic Gunning was teleported to the most glorious of all Air Force medical meccas, Shepherd Air Force Base, Texas. Despite the many recreational and social diversions of this particular garden spot, Airman Basic Gunning managed to finish as an honor graduate for the Medical Service Specialist course. The top brass in the Pentagon were so impressed that he was selected for the Hasty Rap Recruiter Assistance Program. In March of 1977, he was offered and gladly accepted another garden spot assignment to Springfield, Illinois. From April of 1977 to May of 1977, barely 60 days later, he received a higher calling and responded with unusual fervor. He quickly hit the road again to see the world and landed at Reese Air Force Base, Texas, in Lubbock. For the next 18 months, he slaved away in the medical surgical unit and in the emergency room. In December of 1978, he had seen enough of beautiful Texas and hit the road again. He went a few miles down the highway to Brooks Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas, and there he attended the Aeromedical Evacuation School. To this day, there are stories about a student who became ill during field training and had to be carried out on a litter, much to the ire of his team members. His wanderlust led him to Detachment 1 of the 1st Aeromedical Evacuation Squadron, and feeling that there was not enough excitement in his life, Airman Gunning then transferred to the 57th Tactical Aeromedical Evacuation Squadron, where there he felt somewhat confused and somehow managed to become dual qualified in both the C-9 and the C-130. After multiple episodes of air sickness, Airman Gunning decided to get even with his crewmates who seemed to enjoy abandoning him in foreign cities with no money. He transferred to the Evacuation Control Center so that he could tell them all where to go and where to get off. While he was at Scott, Airman Gunning met a beautiful young X-ray technician, Airman Patricia A. Shady. And being smitten by the love bug, he chased her around for a while until she finally caught him. They were married in September of 1979. For reasons unknown and somewhat obscure, he was gently asked to stop flying and retrain. He seized this opportunity to see the world and promptly returned to Brooks Air Force Base, Texas. There he obtained his distinguished graduate from the Aerospace Physiology Technician course. Knowing in his heart that this would finally be his ticket to the great wide world, Airman Gunning was promptly returned to Reese Air Force Base, Texas, to man the physiological training unit for the next 2 years, with the words, "Release, release," strongly embedded in his subconscious. He attended the academic instructor school in Maxwell Air Force Base, Alabama, so that he could teach others what to say, "Release, release." Eventually, recurrent hypoxia did take its toll. Claiming sudden bouts of claustrophobia, Staff Sergeant Gunning left the chamber and re-entered the medical service specialist career field in 1981, where he belonged all along. Remember, click your heels together 3 times and say, "There's no place like home. There's no place like home." Still toiling away at enchanting Reese Air Force Base, Texas, Sergeant Gunning became the assistant NCOIC of the obstetrical unit and eventually the shift leader of the emergency department. After spending time in the obstetrical unit, Pat and Howard were blessed with the arrival of their first son, David. There might be a connection there, maybe not. After burning up the phone lines to the assignment gods at Randolph, Howard finally got his chance to travel. In June of 1982, he was reassigned a few miles down the road to Laughlin Air Force Base, Del Rio, Texas. He was immediately assigned the emergency room as the day shift supervisor. Fortunately for Staff Sergeant Gunning, there was another young staff sergeant there who was willing to take him under his wing and teach him everything he knows. About 5 minutes. During his tour in Del Rio, Staff Sergeant Gunning received his first real experience in tactical field operations, alien incursions, and how to order pizza over the radio. Unfortunately, Del Rio is not known for its outstanding recreational facilities, so they were blessed with the arrival of their second son, Danny. His field exploits became known far and wide, and even to the ears of the gods on Mount Randolph. He was quickly selected to attend Independent Duty Medical Technician School, and then he became distinguished graduate from the Ground Launch Cruise Missile School at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, Arizona. Finally getting his chance to see the world, the big wide world, and get out of the desert for the first time. He transferred to Wischheim Air Station, Germany in February 1986. There, he was instrumental in building a completely new independent duty medical technician program from the ground up. His motto's unit was, "If it ain't raining, you ain't training." Due in part, I'm sure, to his commander's outstanding motivational skills, there were no cold-related injuries in his unit at any time of his duty. His work there has been labeled top secret and eyes only, so we don't really know much about what truly went on. However, I did hear that he did pioneer some new ambulance guidance techniques and even learned how to pilot a wheelbarrow and operate a shovel. Tiring of the incessant white and green, Master Sergeant Gunning again returned to the desert and nursing services in February of 1989. Remember, there's no place like home, no place like home. At the 37th 50th Medical Group, Shepherd Air Force Base, Texas, he served as the NCOIC of the Special Caring Unit, NCOIC of the Primary Care Clinics, and Superintendent of Inpatient Services. While there, him and some other young NCOs attempted to form their own military junta and seize control of the medical facility. Unfortunately, their plans were spoiled when the boss returned from leave and demanded his desk back. In March of 1992, Senior Master Sergeant Gunning moved on to the greener pastures and cornfields of the 1st Medical Operations Group, Scott Air Force Base, Illinois. He served as the superintendent of the 375th Medical Group for the next 3 years. Once selected for the lofty and honorable rank of Chief Master Sergeant, he could no longer remain lost in the cornfields. So our own good fortune brought him here to the Air Force Academy in July of 1995. Since his arrival here, he has toiled away selflessly as the Command Medical Service Manager. His close working relationships with the assignment gods has earned him the nickname of the Terminator. On November 1st, 1997, after 21 years of dedicated service, Chief Master Sergeant William Howard Gunning will retire from active duties. It's a happy day for him, filled with new responsibilities, new directions, new opportunities. Unfortunately, it's a sad day for the rest of us as we lose the company of one of the best. Howard's been my friend for a long, long time, and I'd like to say thank you. We'll see you around.
I'd now like to ask Retirement Officer Major Gage Blakely to please come forward and say a few words.
Not a lot to say after that, of course. I've had the pleasure of knowing Howard for about a year and a half now. We met through our church. Howard and Pat were the leaders of our home Bible study, and we've become good friends, and anybody who knows them, I think, can say they're good friends and good people. I think what really epitomizes Howard's career is the core value of the Air Force, excellence in all we do. And I think it's fitting particularly for him to retire from the Air Force Academy, because this is where that core value was first enunciated. It was the Air Force Academy's core value, and then it became the core value of the Air Force. Excellence in all we do. Why do I say that? Just looking back at Howard's career, 3 times he earned Distinguished Graduate Honors, twice from Tech School and once from the Senior NCO Academy. Twice he was a Medical Services Technician of the Year. Twice he was a Senior Medical Services Technician of the Year. He was the Med Group Senior NCO of the Year at Shepherd Air Force Base. And in 1993, the highlight of his career possibly, he was a Senior NCO for Scott Air Force Base and 15th Air Force. That says a lot about the quality of person that's retiring today. It says a lot about who the Air Force is losing. We're losing a fine man and an outstanding NCO. And Howard, thank you very much for allowing me the privilege of being here today.
Orders, Chief Master Sergeant William H. Gunning, Jr. distinguished himself by meritorious service as Group Superintendent and Command Medical Service Manager while assigned to the 10th Medical Group, 10th Air Base Wing, United States Air Force Academy, from 26 July 1995 to 31 October 1997. Chief Gunning is an aggressive leader who brought fresh energy to this unit. He opened previously closed lines of communication and established the groundwork for necessary personnel reassignments. As a result, 46 of 83 personnel who had been at the group more than 5 years received new assignments. Chief Gunning organized highly successful mock senior airmen below the zone boards credited with giving our young airmen the competitive edge necessary to win. He trailblazed the acceptance of the group as the 4N0X1 clinical phase site, doggedly worked issues between Shepherd Air Force Base and various wing agencies, and won air staff approval. This new site increased Air Force training capacity by 12% and has already graduated 77 new medical technicians. You can find Chief Gunning everywhere, teaching emergency medical technician classes, speaking at Airman Leadership School and cadet panels, guest speaker at events, or simply one-on-one with airmen or NCOs, helping them work through issues. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Chief Gunning culminate a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, I'd like to read Chief Gunning's retirement order. Department of the Air Force, Washington, D.C., Special Order Number AC 006470, dated 18 February 1997. Chief Master Sergeant William H. Gunning, Jr., 099546928, United States Air Force Academy, Colorado, is relieved from active duty effective 31 October 1997 and retired effective 1 November 1997. Highest grade held, Chief Master Sergeant. Active service for retirement, 20 years, 11 months, and 18 days. By order of the Secretary of Air Force. Please be seated. Major Blakely, can you please retrieve Ms. Gunning and bring her forward? To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Chief Master Sergeant William H. Gunning, Jr., having served faithfully and honorably, is retired from the United States Air Force this 31st day of October, 1997. Signed, Ronald R. Fogelman. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Pat Gunning, on the occasion of the retirement of her husband from active duty with the United States Air Force, has earned grateful appreciation for her own unselfish, faithful, and devoted service. Her unfailing support and understanding helped make possible her husband's lasting contribution to the nation. On this 31st day of October, 1997, signed Ronald R. Fogelman, Chief of Staff. A round of applause, please, for the guys. I'd now like to ask Chief Harmon to please come forward. Okay, sir. Colonel Galbraith, Deputy Commander, 10th Medical Group, please come forward. Thanks, sir.
Colonel Downing, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to help Chief Gunning celebrate this special moment with himself and his family. And I think this huge turnout is kind of a testimonial to the high regard we hold for Chief Gunning. I know it is. I have several letters here that I would like to read, at least paraphrase several, and probably read one from our commander, Dr. Hammer, who desperately wanted to be here. As you know, we got called away to Washington on short notice. But before I do that, I'd like to say a few words on behalf of the executive staff from the 10th Medical Group. Over the past several days, I've had the opportunity to read every single EPR in this gentleman's impeccable record. Why don't we have you sit down? You don't need to stand for this, please. And it is an outstanding record. 20 years ago, and a little bit of change, the chief was at Reese as an ER tech doing great things. And I read every EPR from that point forward until the last EPR, which showed him as the group superintendent here at the medical group. From the time he was selected as senior airman below the zone, all the way through and beyond the time when he was selected as the non-commissioned officer